What is up? It is so wonderful to be here with you, beloved. Yes, even on this moment that we're sharing together in a digital way is really, really such a blessing. And that is what today's video is all about. Understanding how you can start to tap in and really genuinely appreciate the sacredness of life, and then also understanding the flip side of that, where you may be more aware of when you're mindlessly rushing from one thing to the next and aren't really stopping to like smell the roses, to feel the air on our skin, to just really take in the miracles that have happened to bring us here, right? And that's been one of the biggest shifts. Hey, Joanna, what's up? Nice to see ya. I'm gonna put you on blast right here. Hi. You said howdy, I said hi. Nice to see you, hun. And so, yeah, I just really want to share that like there was a big difference in my life from before I felt really like in tuned with spirit and led with spirit to after, where in the past I felt like I was really rushing through life and kind of like on autopilot, and it just felt a lot more energetically draining. And on the flip side of that, I've come into a place where I started feeling a lot more supported and in a much more grander scale, and being able to celebrate the beauty of life and genuinely feel grateful for all that has brought me to this moment. Like even the perceived things that were good or bad or, helpful or hurtful, whatever all the situations were, all of that has brought me here and has brought us together in this way. And for that, I am so grateful. And so when I started really weaving rituals into my day, I began to feel a lot more connected, not only with myself, but also with the universe in general, right? And as my ritual practices started to evolve and incorporate a lot more different things, and I started, kind of feeling it was like the spirit realm became a playground and like meeting different beings and divinities. And it's just been such a beautiful experience, like really mind opening, and helping me understand and come into a place of knowing that spirit is really unlimited. There is like an unfathomable amount of potential that we can tap into. And also that is here within us as well. And so due to our fast-paced modern lifestyle, it's pretty easy to lose track of the sacred practices, right? And that will then kind of lead us to allow the busyness of our lives to take over, right? And we come into a place of just doing and doing and doing and doing, and it's just like we can get pretty wrapped up in it. And so when something like that can happen and it starts to overtake other things in our lives, then even the rituals start to lose its magic and become more like all the other routines that happen on the daily. And that can have us end up feeling like we're machines, right? All over again. And so this is really like a practice for us to bring our awareness in, to be like, okay, what am I doing? How am I doing it? Why am I doing it? And that can really decipher, like, okay, what's sacred to me? And not to say like there are things that aren't sacred. It's just there is a type of energy that is very distinct from when we're like so caught up in the world around us in this physical 3D plane, versus like expanding into the energy and kind of opening up our capacity to tap into other basically dimensions, right? It's like the other realities and other dimensions, other energies that we may not be able to physically see, but with our energetic abilities, we can sense it, right? And so we can really tap into spirit, to source, to the divine in that way. And so I just really want to help refocus our attention to a more sacred way of living and be able to catch ourselves when we start to fall into those mundane traps, as I would call them, right? So before I go further, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Cynthia Gutierrez of Embodied Ritual, and I'm really here to guide you through spiritual embodiment so that you can remember who you truly are while leading a vibrantly healthy, sacred, and sovereign life. And if you're new to my work, it would be super awesome to keep in touch. So please follow Embodied Ritual on Instagram and Facebook. And you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can ring the bell or click the bell so that it can notify you when new videos start to come through, right? So yeah, Joe, I love the reverence and mindfulness of the sacred rather than the autopilot energy. Yeah, it's really distinct. Sometimes the line is a little fine, but it's kind of like we actually, it can be kind of a dissociative act where like we lose track of what we're doing and we're so caught up in the future that when we take the time to slow down and be more aware of what's going on in an intentional way, then our energy comes into the present moment, right? And that can happen when we're thinking in the past or thinking too far into the future. And so it's really great to like bring our energy into the present moment and then bringing ritual into practice to then, okay, I'm here in this present moment. What can I do with this? What can I do with my energy and my magic? What is this life that I'm co-creating right here, right now? Right? Hey, Lisa, is this a preface to a course you're teaching? Sort of. I mean, well, okay. So, I mean, this video channel is like my weekly content. So I teach a lot of various things that all tie into the tapestry of embodied ritual, but stay tuned because I am going to be sharing a lot more of, how to work with me and how to do things like living a more sacred life and a more sacred way of being, so that when we get in tune and in touch with our spirit and as well as the connection to our higher source, then we can really feel like we're following along the path of living our sacred purpose. And so, yeah, stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing a lot more information on how to do that. And it's very exciting. Next week, I'm going to be like kind of revealing it all. So yeah, thanks for asking. I really appreciate it. It's not so much a course, but I will go more into detail next week. So yeah, keep in touch and I'll be chatting a lot more about it soon. So yes, getting back to this topic of ritual versus routine. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to do an episode on this ritual versus routine topic is that I'm noticing a pattern that is really allowing one to take over the other. Okay. And I've come across it like mostly on social media and sometimes through like overhearing conversations or talking with friends. But I'm noticing a pattern where people who are stating that they're doing their morning ritual, like I'm going to do my morning ritual. And I take a closer look and observe, and it includes like drinking their coffee, brushing their teeth, checking their phone, and things like that. And the thing is, what I really want to point out here is that there can be a problem that can start to diminish the sacred power that rituals hold to the point where their so-called rituals are actually just routines they do every day in ways that are more on autopilot, right? And so one thing I do want to say is that maybe their routine of drinking coffee, brushing their teeth, checking their phone might actually have moments of ritual infused in them. Okay. And that's kind of the importance behind all of this, is understanding and truly knowing the difference between a routine and a ritual and how to be mindful of how you're starting to interact with the two. Okay. And they're both necessary and important. I'm not going to say like, oh, routines are so mundane and like, who cares? No, routines are so important. This is coming from a Capricorn over here. Okay. Like I have something called a sun routine. Right when I wake up, I have an hour to myself to like take care of myself, to lift up my vibe, to get excited for what's happening, to say thank you. And so I have a sun routine. And sometimes within my sun routine, there are moments of ritual. Yeah. I have a moon routine. So an hour before bed, I do various things, right, to help me kind of release the day and get ready into bedtime. And so, and we do so many kinds of routines, right? Like even driving the same route to the grocery store or something. Like we have all sorts of routines, and it's important. They're very important. They serve a purpose. And also rituals, honoring the sacred, honoring the relationship that you have with your divine source is just as important. And so it's good to have the balance between the two. Okay. So understand, what was I saying? Yeah, that they both have a value, and to be aware of when and how they're being weaved into your life is one of the great ways that you can make the best of each of the practices, right? And so in this video, we're going to explain the differences between rituals and routines. I'm also going to get into ideas on how you can incorporate more ritual in your life, and to kind of bring up a really important decision that you need to make about them so that you can begin to truly appreciate the sacredness of life, and experience a more fulfilled type of life. So when you're living from a place of being grateful and in awe and acknowledging the miracles that are all around us, it really will help attract more of that into your life, right? When you focus on something that is positive and helpful to you, the universe is like, oh, okay, well, this is obviously what she wants, because she's spending so much time and energy on that, versus like, oh, I'm too busy, and oh, I have all this stuff to do, and like, like I'm too busy to do this, ritual or whatever it is. Like if you're spending so much time and energy on that, the universe is like, oh, okay, well, that matters, right? It matters so much that this is like all she wants to do. So let's give her more reasons to do this, and more situations, and, bring people into her life and all this stuff. So, also routines don't have to be this kind of a hamster wheel either, right? And that's kind of the what I want to teach is of embodiment and being really present and self-aware of what's going on, so that even when we're not doing ritual and we're focused on a routine, it can still be fun, it can still be light, it can still be easy. And so that's like a whole nother video. But anyway, let's get into all of the details. Yeah. So the way that I view rituals is that they are ways to express the perspective of life as a special blessing. Okay. And a ritual is an act of being consciously present through a process that might be celebrating, that might be acknowledging something, guiding, or manifesting what it is that you're focused on. And rituals are a very unique and important practice to honor the initiations and completions or milestones in our lives. And even though rituals are known to be a repetitive and like consistent practice that can be done at particular times, right? There are also different rituals that are only a once in a lifetime occurrence. And what really helps shape a ritual is the intention. The intention the intention helps the energy revolve around the purpose of that ritual. So it's really important to be clear of why you're doing the ritual, because it'll help initiate that particular energy and that frequency and direct it in the way that you're intending to. Yeah. Now, as I said before, a routine can really help transition, or I'm gonna try that again. So a routine can transition into a ritual and vice versa, right? Routine can turn into a moment of ritual, and a moment of ritual can also end up becoming a routine as well. And so the most distinct way to shift into a ritual is by bringing your full attention into what you're doing, and then being conscious of how you're expressing that special moment, of how you're interacting with the divine. And it's a really mindful process of connecting with source, or connecting with your higher self, right? Your spirit, and as well as the consciousness in the world around us, the consciousness of the plants, the consciousness of nature, the consciousness of water, of earth, of fire, of air, the consciousness of animals, right? And so, uh, now I think it's pretty clear that you can get the difference from doing things that are like brushing your teeth or drinking your tea or like um driving the same route again, forgetting how you got there, right? Like I totally do that thing where I'm daydreaming on the car ride somewhere, and like it's like those moments just doesn't have the special and sacred essence that a ritual would. And so that's the main distinction between a routine where you go through all of the steps in a kind of mindless way and experiencing in more of an unconscious way versus a ritual that you intentionally bring your focus into a heartfelt experience, right? Where you gather your energy into that present moment and intentionally work with that energy. And like I said, a ritual can also shift into a routine. So pay attention to any rituals that you've been doing and notice if it's starting to become more of routine, right? Where you may be like losing track of what you're doing and noticing that it's starting to get on autopilot through, you know, going through the motions and without really feeling into and being fully present throughout the practice. Like there's this thing that I do before I work on embodied ritual. I always honor the four sacred gateways. And so I've noticed that like I do the things, I look at the direction, I say a little prayer, and then I move on. Now I have to be aware, like, okay, I'm paying attention to the east and I'll say my thing. And sometimes I'll be like thinking of something else because I'm so used to doing this almost every single day, like Monday through Friday for the most part. And so I have to really be like, whoa, wait a minute. Like I'm trying to acknowledge the guides and guardians of the Eastern Gateway. And I'm over here thinking about like lunch, you know, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like ground your energy, bring it all to the present moment and have that like, you know, the presence, right? It's almost like you're talking to a friend and then they start looking at their phone and start texting and you're in the middle of a story and it's like, hey, are you with me? Like what's going on here? You know, so that I kind of want to bring that attention. If you're doing rituals, you know, pulling cards, whatever it is that, whatever rituals you do, like start to notice, observe, reflect. Oh, have I been kind of just going through the motions? Yeah. See, Joanna, sometimes the marriage will become stagnant. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's another good idea too, right? Because like our brains as humans are very set on habits. And so things that we do over and over and over again, they become habitual and that's how they become unconscious, right? And that's how we can create new habits too, doing it over and over and over again to then it becomes part of our subconscious mind. So that is a really great way to be like, hey, well, if this is starting to get like kind of like I don't want to say boring, but if it's like too repetitive and too much expected, changing it up and refreshing it to do something different or a different order or whatever it is, like that I think that's a great idea to help kind of break the patterns, you know, that'll keep us like it makes me think of almost like a broken record, you know. So yeah, let's see here. So talking about practices, I really want to get into how rituals are a really beautiful way to be more aware of the subtle shifts in energy, in the way that you feel and the way that you do things and why you're doing them. And rituals are really, really great opportunities to make mundane tasks into an elevated experience that can bring more meaning and beauty into your life. So like, you know, rituals don't have to be like, oh, a prayer to the divine or like, oh, only done under a full or new moon. Like rituals can really be infused while you're washing the dishes, while you're journaling in the morning or whatever. And so some ideas to practicing reconnecting with yourself in a ritualistic way can be like saying positive things to yourself in the mirror while you're getting ready for work and like really kind of seeing your eyes and looking at your eyes, having this like soul recognition, right? You can also say an intention or a prayer when you light a candle at your desk. That's something that I do too. Um, or maybe leaving your phone behind when you go out for a walk. That can be a really great thing if, like, especially we spend so much time now on screens. I like to do that going around. I leave my phone behind going around the walk around the block, and that will help me, like, check in with myself. How am I feeling? What's going on with me? Like, do I feel okay? Or like, yeah, like I just want to acknowledge this great thing that I did today, and I just want to be with myself. So that can be some ideas, and other ways that you can reconnect with your higher power in a ritualistic way can be like saying thank you to your creator, and expressing how grateful you are, right? And that'll also help with manifesting more to be grateful for. You can also spend quality time at your altar. That is a really great way to kind of drop into that, like that sacred space. And if you don't have an altar, or you want to find like different ideas to redo an altar or create a different one, was it last week? No. Anyway, I have a YouTube video on how, oh, not that one. Not that one. Oh, but anyway, so on YouTube, you can search how to prepare and set an altar. And that will go through the steps on how you can make your own if you don't have one. Altars are really, really great ways to infuse more sacred practices and rituals in your life, right? You have that designated area to really drop in and connect with your divinity, with your spirit guides, your higher self, however that's comfortable for you. So yeah, let's see. Another one is even celebrating planetary and cosmic events like equinoxes and solstices, or the new and full moon. Like, those are also kind of more on the macro scale of doing more rituals in a way that is not just like on the earth and like human to human, or even of the self. It's kind of getting more into the broader spectrum of things, more celestial, and incorporating more of the universal energy. And so I'd just like to encourage you to get more in touch with communities as well. So like, rituals don't need to be done by yourself. Now, of course, and this is how I started, actually, is getting in touch with communities that I felt safe and comfortable to do rituals with, right? Because I felt like when I come together with a group of people and we're all like meditating together or doing ritual or celebrating something, it really amplifies the energy and has a greater impact. And it could also turn into a big catalyst for change too. And so, yeah, I just want to encourage you. Especially now, there are so many different online communities that you can get in touch with. Like, it could be even like a meditation kind of community. It can be a spiritual community. It can be all sorts of things that y'all come together and do a ritual. And that's how I kind of started in my spiritual practice. I found a moon ritual for free on YouTube, and I just started doing it, and I kept showing up, and now I like do rituals on my own. I do rituals with other people, or it's just really fun. It becomes a lot easier and more comfortable. And so one thing I want to say here, I'm going to add a bit of a disclaimer. Okay, so I'm going to let you know there is duality in the universe, right? Like, we're pretty aware, especially since 2020, where there is light, there is also dark. Okay. And we all have the free will to choose how to work with energy. And also, we are all each 100% responsible of our own energy. Okay. Of course, I'll get back to the comments in a moment, because this is really important. And so I bring this up that, there is light, there is dark. There are various energies, especially when working with the spirit realm and this like tapping into the unlimited potential. Like, it's really, really important to be clear as to why you're doing what you're doing and how it's serving not only yourself, but the collective and like the universe. We are all intertwined. Everything matters. We are all affected. And so I just want to encourage you to consciously work with the light of your creator. That is light that's protected, light that's safe, and a source of beauty and illumination. Okay. Because rituals can be helpful and they can be hurtful. And so I just want to bring forth that it's very important for you to come into a place where you are like, this is where I stand, this is what I value, and I work in the light. Now, with that said, I'm not saying like run away from the shadow. No, we need to come into a place where we're able to work with the darker energies of ourselves. We all have them. We all have a shadow. And especially as humans, we will always have a shadow. Now, what I want to focus on is paying attention to the relationship with that. And so sometimes I'll open up a sacred circle and I'll do a ritual of helping myself heal and process my emotions. So maybe from the outside, someone might be like, dude, she's like breaking down, crying and like shaking. Like, is she okay? Like, this looks kind of weird and scary. But really, it's like I'm allowing myself to process my feelings and calling in divine support to help me move through these experiences and this dense energy with the intention to heal, with the intention that the energy gets transmuted into something greater. And so this is why I really want to bring it up and just project my trust that when you do rituals and ceremonies, that you'll spread the divine light and love into all that is. Okay. And yeah. And so, like sharing about rituals, like I don't take it lightly. And so my intention for this video is to have this video and this information be of service for the highest and best good. And that's something that you can also practice too, especially if you're just beginning. And it's like, oh man, like I want to get in touch with spirit, but feels a little scary because it's unknown, right? It's like it's so vast that it's really is kind of like a big box of all sorts of stuff. And there is amazing medicine here for you. And so you can always say at the end of your rituals, may this be in service for the highest and best good. My intention is blank, 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 and may it be for the highest and best good. And that'll really help kind of keep the rituals that you experience really in a place that is helpful, that's healing, that's empowering, that really brings transformation in ways that can help ascend our experience here on this earth. And so I'm just gonna look back into the comments because I had missed some. Oh, cool, Joanna. I'm glad you refreshed your self-loving self-care altar. Yes, it's so important, like the more energy that we bring into our sacred spaces and like just bring our life force into these sacred spaces, the more that it's like it recharges that. And so that's really important to refresh those altars. Christina, anything done with intention can become a ritual. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so that's really important. Can't see any comments. Great, but thank you. Oh yeah, and I can't see who you are either. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but in the description there might be a link from StreamYard, and because you have to give it permission to be able to see your name, but that's like on my end. I'm not sure what's going on the other end, but it might be from somewhere else. Oh, because I go live in a Facebook group that I'm in. So this is streaming in 3 different spots. I go live in Facebook on my Facebook page, which you might be seeing that right now. I go live in my Facebook group. That's more like community based. And then I go live on YouTube as well. And that's where you can find a lot more of the episodes that I have done and will keep doing. And so I just feel like it's easier to find those episodes there. But yeah, so anyway, I think that was pretty much what I wanted to share about rituals and rituals and routines. And I just want to say that like, I really want to encourage you to incorporate more ritual in your life, or even just being more intentional, being more conscious and mindful of like, what am I doing? How am I doing it? Like, in what way am I being in my life? And how can I appreciate and celebrate the sacredness the beauty of the freaking miracles that are all here, and it's just like ever since I started doing rituals and ceremonies, it has made such an impact in my life in both small and big ways. Like when I wake up, I now like feel that it's like a smile just comes upon my face now because I'm so used to just waking up and doing my sun routine that taps me back into the 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 miracles and just how special it is. Like what a blessing that I get to come into this earth through this body and experience this life. And not only just it's not just special for me, but like what a blessing it is to be in your presence too, for us to like experience this together. And sometimes it's hard. Yeah, right? Like I'm not saying this is like this life is a walk in the park. Like I've had my challenges too, but when I get back, when I get in touch with my divine support through rituals and ceremonies, it helps me realize like, oh yeah, like there is a purpose behind this. This issue, this challenge that I'm facing right now, like there is something on the other side that's way greater than I can even imagine at this point. And so on the flip side, it's not only like just helped me through micro steps on my daily life, it's also really brought me through some big transformation in my life in the past. Like the very first uh ceremony, a group ceremony that I had experienced, because it's hard to say because like honestly, like birthdays, singing of the birthday song with the candle on the birthday cake, and like that is a ritual in itself, right? Like wedding ceremonies, that's a ceremony. Like yeah, and so like there's these like modern day rituals and ceremonies that we're all kind of used to, and then there's like the other spiritual, more like my connection to spirit kind of a ritual too. And then there's like the community, like there's like Vipassana retreats, right? Like that in itself is a really deep ceremonial practice. And so anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, like just rituals have helped me in micro and macro ways. Like I've experienced a ceremony in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza in 2012. And that was the huge catalyst to my spiritual awakening when I finally woke up. And it didn't happen overnight. Like I was at that weekend of December 21st, 2012, I had experienced like ceremonies together throughout that whole weekend in the pyramids and outside of the pyramids. And I felt like it was like a silent firework that like blew up and I didn't even notice. But everything after that, I was like, whoa, like now I realize how like I wasn't really respecting myself and appreciating myself or loving myself. And now I'm like having all of these huge life changing decisions. Like I changed my diet. I changed the clothes that I was wearing. Like, like I was more aware of like 100% cotton. And like, I don't know, it was just interesting because I had moved countries and I came back to my mom's house, and she was just like, whoa, like who are you? I didn't even use a microwave anymore. Like it was just stuff that like it was just really trippy. And so I just want to bring forth the potential behind rituals and ceremonies, even though like especially we do it every new and full moon, like there's some really, really deep power that might really unravel in miraculous ways much later down the line. But the more intentional, mindful, and the more that we express our freedom to co-create a life that we envision for the highest and best good, that just the more opportunities we'll have to really step into that and embody that and experience and co-create a beautiful, beautiful world for our future generations to come in and experience for themselves, right? So yeah, it's a really big part of my practice, and it's why I've dedicated the whole third pillar of embodied ritual to rituals and ceremonies specifically, because they can be done in so many different ways, and for so many different purposes. And so, yeah, what do I want to say? So I explained a lot. That was a lot going on in there. And Oh, I see you, Joanne. Thanks for your Capricorn laying down the importance of knowing why and for what purpose you are doing the rituals. Yeah, it's big, you know, like especially when we see like when we're more clear as to like why we want to do something and like how we want to, I don't want to say how, but like what the ultimate outcome is. And then the ritual, when we like send that vision off, it's like the universe can then really step in to take care of the how it happens. And I just love that. How like I want this, like this is something that I envision for myself, and I'm gonna send it out in ritual to spirit and then just trust the process, right? So anyway, so yeah, I just to quickly summarize what we went over. I would just want to say that we first started talking about rituals and how they are truly a blessing in and of itself, that really brings forth the sacredness of life. And we also went into distincting differences in rituals and routines. And so that routines are not to be mistaken for rituals and vice versa, right? So routines are usually unconscious habitual actions that are done more on an autopilot kind of way, right? You just chop wood and carry water, and that's just what you do. And so rituals, on the flip side, are mindful acts of intentional practices that honors the sacred and revolves around celebrating or acknowledging, guiding or manifesting what it is that you're focused on. And then we went through some ritualistic practices that can give you more ideas on weaving rituals in your morning like routine, while you journal, when you're driving, while you work, cooking dinner, during your bath. Honestly, it's really, really fun how you can just incorporate it in just about everything. And yeah, and then you can also even, do for bigger milestones. Like I did a whole ceremony for my daughter when she turned 3 years old. And I'll definitely do one again for when she begins puberty. Like those are huge thresholds in a human's life. And I think it's really important to acknowledge them and have these rituals and ceremonies that helps close the door to something that has ended and open the door into something that's beginning. And so bringing intention and ritual into things like that can be really powerful and really help us on an energetic level to transition throughout these phases in our lifetime. And so now maybe you'll consider opening yourself to celebrate new moons and full moons and equinoxes and solstices in a group fashion, because I think that's just everything's so much more fun when we do it in community. And so the last thing we touched on was also being clear about doing rituals for the highest and best good, right? And yeah, and you know what? Some people might do it for, like they see, like, I don't know what they would call it even, because I'm not even in that realm of like doing things in other ways. But, like I understand that universe balances itself out, right? There's a purpose to it all. Yet when we want to experience more freedom, more love, more unity, right? It's like we really have to take full responsibility as to how we're showing up in our lives. Because even though we are individuals, we are also part of the collective. And through epigenetics and all of that, we know that with every generation, it has an impact on us. And what we do in this lifetime will continue to impact the generations after us. And even if you don't have children, you still are influencing the earth right now. You're influencing your neighbors. You're influencing all of us that are connected here on the internet. And so, yeah, I just want to, encourage us to be like showing up as our best selves. And yeah, we're going to learn lessons. It's going to be tough, right? Like there's some things that are going to humble us. Yet we still are worthy of experiencing the best life that we can envision. And so it requires our best selves to step forward. So anyway, so yeah, if you liked this video, please share it. That would be super rad. I think, like another part of me sharing the distinctions between rituals and routines is to help protect the sacred. You know what I mean? Like rituals are rituals, and it's a very, very, very special thing to practice that can really impact not only ourselves and our family, but our community and the planet and the collective. And routines are just as important here as humans that we run our lives off of, like they're both very, very important, but it's good to be mindful of our language, and the power that is behind our words, and be distinct and discerning on whether a ritual is taking place and whether we're just doing routine. And we can infuse the two, but I just don't want them to get watered down, you know what I'm saying? so so yeah, if you want to experience more healing, transformations, and beauty in your life, then please, please, please follow Embodied Ritual on Instagram and Facebook, as well as on YouTube, because I'm going to share some exciting news next week. I'm really stepping into a place of coming into or being more of service, and it's just been amazing how the universe is telling me, like, hey, it's time to do this thing. So if you want to know what all of that is about, please follow me, and you'll know pretty soon. Next week, I'm going to be opening more information about all of that. So yeah, let's see here. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I have a couple more minutes that I can share with you, but I hope this was helpful. And yeah. Oh, Rachel, what's up, Rachel? Right back at you. But yeah. So thank you so much for showing up and being here with me. I truly hope you have a beautiful day today or evening, whenever you're watching this. And it's such a pleasure to be of service and help and just enjoy our lives together in this way. So yeah, y'all, I don't see any questions or anything. And if you're watching a replay, it's all good. You can just pop the question in the comments and I'll get back to you for sure. So yeah. All right, y'all. Take great care. And oh, hey, Matt. I see ya. Hey. Cool. I love you too. Big love. I wish I could do emojis on this, but anyway, whatever. Because I'm the emoji, right? Woo! Take care, y'all. Take care. And I'll catch you later. Ciao.